fan service. I'm your host, Gavin. I'm out here today with
Kathy from Spoilers.
And
Jarrett Crippen, a.k.a. The Diffuser.
And we're out at Scare for a Cure because we're learning what makes a good haunted house and what it takes to have all sorts of Halloween fun. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Scare for a Cure here in Maynard, Texas, and are you the founder?
My wife and I founded Scare for a Cure.
Okay.
I was kind of that guy in the neighborhood that does the crazy Griswold Christmas and dresses up as the Easter Bunny to scare children. But Halloween has always been my favorite, and so I've always done that elaborate home haunt.
Yes.
And then finally in 2005, it kind of shut down our subdivision, and I had to hire constables to direct traffic around our little event, and my wife did the proverbial put the foot down and said, not at the house anymore. And Scare for a Cure was born.
So you just decided, hey, you know what? I want to do a haunted house type thing for a charity. So what is the charity?
Charity is the Breast Cancer Resource Centers of Texas, because Scare for a Cure is putting the boo back in boobies.
Wow. That's
We're saving the tatas one scream at a time.
You were practicing that? Is that
I can write these
your
all day long.
pitch? One more off the top of your head.
Well, see, now you've got me on the spot here. I need to prepare.
All right, so how long has Scare for a Cure been in business?
Since 2007. So this is our 7th year? I can't do
Six.
Yeah, I don't do math
6th
either.
year.
Okay, so explain your haunted house idea. Every year you do what, like a theme? Is it the same thing every year?
We blatantly stole this idea from Richard Garriott's Britannia Manor. Richard Garriott, the origin video game designer, Ultima Online. He would spend a lot of his own money to turn his house into an interactive haunted house, kind of loosely based on video games. So he wanted you to feel like you were in the game. So we basically took his idea with his blessing and created Scare for a Cure. So it's, as far as we know, the world's only full contact interactive haunted adventure.
Full contact. That's a huge term right there, because every time you go to the haunted house, you always get the hands off, so you kind of miss that whole boo factor, because it's not like you're really there.
No, we grab you, we abduct you, we douse you with blood and gore. It's a lot of fun.
Blood and gore, huh? Is it like real blood and real gore, or is it like fake blood, fake
We're
gore?
not going to give out those trade secrets.
I'm going to find out eventually. At some point in time, I'm going to figure out if it's real blood or real gore. So I like the fact that this was born out of your idea of your love for holidays, especially Halloween, because that's like our holiday here at Fanboy TV as well. Well, how do you deal with the fact that people are now looking at Halloween completely different than they did when we were kids? Like, when we were kids, you could go trick-or-treating, every house is decorated. Now, you're lucky if you get one house on the street that's open to give you candy, and no one wants to decorate, and everyone's like, ooh, Halloween is evil.
That's actually kind of a benefit for us, in that part of that really isn't that Halloween is evil, it's that Halloween can be dangerous. If you've got everyone running around in a mask, you can have some real bad guys put on a mask and go around and do hinky stuff. So a lot of parents are scared. Well, that's where Scare also comes in, especially for the Manor and Elgin and East Austin communities. We put on a free haunted Halloween trick-or-treat event. So it's free to the public on Halloween. Bring the kids out here and come trick-or-treating in a safe,
To hear?
slightly freaky environment, but nothing too scary for the kids.
Slightly
Here at
freaky.
Ghost Town, we put on a free trick-or-treat event. So bring the kids out. Ghost Town and Manor.
So is that a real ghost town? Like, did you just randomly buy land and put up a ghost town, or was there a ghost town here?
Ghost Town has been here for about 15 years. It's the brainchild of a man named George Richards. And he started building these old buildings that are on that end of the property. And it was like an event venue. So you can have your Old West wedding or a party themed on the Old West. They have bands and music. They sell awesome hamburgers and hot dogs, beers, sodas. Of the 15 acres or so, Ghost Town takes up about 6 acres. We take up about 4 or 5 acres. So we're just kind of piggybacking on Ghost Town.
Yeah, it is a pretty big area. and actually quite nicely done. So we're gonna catch up on a video with Chris Rachel, and we'll be right back to figure out what makes a good haunted house with Scare for a Cure.
Hey, I'm Chris Rachel Oseland out here with Scare for a Cure with a Devil Bunny and a zombie in process. Both of these are going to be terrifying you soon. Tell me, Devil Bunny, do you actually want a ham? Because I've seen your board game.
Yes.
Devil Bunny needs a ham. I know this for a fact. Do you actually like rip children's heads off and drink the blood directly, or do you prefer to pour it into a wine glass first?
Try the wine glass first.
Really? Because you got to be classy about these things, especially with a ham, you know?
Yeah.
What about you? When you're actually like marauding and ripping small children's flesh off, what part do you go for first as far as the most tender meat?
Whatever's sticking out the furthest that I can grab the easiest.
Wow, very practical-minded zombie there. Not actually looking for any specific like organs or tender parts.
Not really. Just what I can get.
Really? Do you usually have to fight a whole lot of other zombies off to get the best bits?
They're usually all pretty dumb. So I can pretty much get what I got.
How have you held on to your sentience and intelligence this far? Is it the magical powers of the Devil Bunny?
Sorta. It's a little bit of that and a little bit of trade secret.
Oh, trade secrets. And by trade secrets, do you mean eating brains? I thought so. Well, I look forward to running from both of you out there.
Thank you.
Come on, Kathy.
Dark.
You should have run.
So we are here talking about the Gore Cannon.
This is the Gore Cannon, and you never know at Scare for a Cure where the Gore Cannon is.
What does it do?
Well, today we're going to blow some water through it, but normally what we do is we blow some bloody giblet gravy kind of gook, and people pay extra for us to blow this snot on you. So let's just say, you know, a big Tyrannosaurus Rex dies, gets its throat slit. So we slit the dinosaur's throat, and all that goop sprays on the crowd. Well, that's what's going to happen, and this is what makes it happen. This is Jake, my special effects manager, and he's going to give us a demonstration. Young lady, I would step right back over there.
You don't want to be in the front.
And then we're going to step back over here. And 3, 2, 1, fire.
Boom. Well, I got loaded first.
Well, load it! Jesus, man.
Oh, it's very simple.
You know, you can't get good help these days.
Oh my God, there's red coming out of there already.
Oh, the red's good for you.
Oh my God, we're doing 3 cups?
3 cups.
3 cups of gore.
Go big or go home, right?
All right, go big or go home.
You want to do me a favor and hold on to that?
I will. Are you just setting me up?
Never. I tried to kill you twice. All right, are we ready?
Yes.
Clear the blast zone. 3, 2, 1.
Awesome. All right, Kathy, you ready for this?
I'm right behind you, sweetheart. Wait, he's gonna burn my shoes.
Wait, we can't get out.
Let me out!
Creepy noise.
What room is this?
All right, so we're back with Jared from Scare for a Cure and Courtney here with us from Ladies Fandom. And we're going to talk about what makes a haunted house a really good haunted house. Because you see, and it's always these boo factors. These people jump out at everything. So in your experience of doing this for how many years? Okay, this thing really does smell like cookies and candy.
You are in the old witch's house from Hansel and Gretel. The old lady tried to eat Hansel and Gretel. They thought it was only fair to turn the tables, and they have been munching on the old witch.
No.
Little do we know, Hansel and Gretel were cannibals.
There you go.
The true story that Grandma
So
told you.
this looks, 1, really freaky and really good, and 2, the fact that it smells makes this whole room just kind of fit because it's kind of disturbing.
What does it smell like?
Candy. and
Exactly.
cookies and-
There you go.
Yeah, it's I haven't been in a haunted house that had olfactory senses included in it as well. Is that a choice you made willingly and knowingly? And
Yeah,
do
like
people
we-
actually notice it?
Yeah, in fact, the haunted house industry has grown so much the last few years. You can actually buy scents for your fog machines and such.
Uh-huh.
And so, like, the dark forest path will smell like pine needles and earth. The swamp will smell like
Dirty
swamp. And of course, the candy house from Hansel and Gretel smells like candy and baked goods.
Okay, so other than the olfactory sense, what else makes a good haunted house, other than the jump out and scare your pants off scares?
That's greatly open to interpretation. What makes a good chocolate chip cookie? A lot of people make them 100 different ways. The way we think what makes a good haunted house is, as you mentioned, most haunted houses go boo, and then they scurry back to their shade. And they walk out and go boo, and then scurry back into their shadow. We want you to be immersed in a story. We want you to have an objective, a beginning, a middle, and an end. There are losing scenarios. There are full-body abductions. You have to rescue your friends.
So you mean we could come and put Kathy as our bait and let her get abducted and have to go save her?
Absolutely.
Oh, we're doing it.
So that's what.
No, you're not.
So that's what we like it here at Scare for Cure. Is most haunted houses take about 12 minutes. Ours takes almost an hour to get through. So we want you to feel like you're trapped in a video game gone horribly, horribly wrong.
He likes his horribly, horribly wrong scenario. Have you realize that?
That's what makes it fun.
I think, like, I've never been in a haunted house where it's full contact and full immersion like this. Like, do you get in trouble? Do people have to sign waivers? Do you have legal forms? That
Yes,
before you
yes,
walk
and yes,
in?
and yes.
And people are like, oh my God, someone took my auntie. And you're like, what?
Yeah, we've actually had an abduction where a woman got abducted, and the friends literally tried to break into where we abducted her, but we're prepared for that, so it was like an iron cage. And then they had to answer a riddle, get the key, then they could let her out. But they were pretty freaked out.
So
They
you're
were like, they could do that?
they didn't know.
You signed a waiver.
So that's the whole thing that I think really draws people out here more than other places, because it is an adventure. It's an interactive choose your own adventure, basically.
Essentially, yes.
And who doesn't like those? I mean, we all love choices in video games and books, and who doesn't remember the choose your own adventure books? I used to always pick the wrong choice to see how far I could go.
And you died a horrible,
horrible
death.
death. Or I was,
at the time.
yeah. So your theme this year seems to be fairy tales, I take it.
Fairy tale nightmare.
Could you say
We
that
need to do our voiceovers.
Yeah, he needs to do our voiceovers. I don't think scary when I think fairy tales.
Of course not, but one instance you realize Prince Charming in Cinderella. Okay, he rode the countryside looking for the one woman that the slipper would fit on her foot, right? We all remember that story. Our Prince Charming is a lazy bastard. He sent his soldiers out to the countryside to cut off the right leg of all the women and bring it to him because he doesn't want to leave the castle. So he sits in his throne room trying severed legs on glass slippers. Because that's how we roll.
Which is actually kind of closer to the original fairy tale.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're saying when fairy tales aren't scary to you. Have you ever read the original versions of
I've read
fairy
the original
tales?
versions where, like, Little Mermaid turns to sea foam and the stepsisters cut off pieces
Toes
of
to
it.
fit it in. Yeah.
So the problem is everyone's used to the Disney style fairy tale. So they come out here thinking, oh, this is going to be scary. Then one of them gets abducted. They get shot with a Gore Cannon. They get lost. They have to figure out puzzles. I don't think people understand how much fun that can possibly be.
One of the best things that people say to me is when we have someone who, let's say, him and his wife take their vacations around traveling to different haunted houses. And they finally make their way to our little Scare for a Cure haunted house, expecting, oh, it's going to be cute, it's not volunteers. And then they come out and go, what the hell was that? That wasn't like no haunted house I've been through. Son of a bitch, I got scared. They took my wife. They had to give her back. Well, that's all right. You know.
You could have just kept her the whole time, you know.
So yeah, I mean, I love it when people come through and get shocked and go, what the hell was that?
And it's funny because I had no clue this was out here. And I love Halloween. You know, I'm used to the House of Torments and the other ones.
We rarely market. You know, we rarely market. It's word of mouth. I mean, we are a volunteer organization. If I have money, I'm spending it on the smell of baked goods and good-looking corpses and stuff.
It started to turn my stomach a little bit because I see this corpse and I just like,
Doesn't match.
No.
No, it should be like flies and rotting death. Instead, it's like peppermint candies.
So yeah, we want to surprise people. We want them to have a good time. And it's not just all about being scared. I want you to go through an adventure. You know, there's a win, there's a lose, there's things to do, clues to find, people to talk to. Like, you got to talk to Hansel and Gretel, because while they're trying to kill you, they've got a clue you need for the next area. So you got to figure out how to get it out of them and avoid the demise of the old witch.
And I love that fact because people forget how to have fun and how to have adventures. This is going to go back to talking about Halloween and holidays. People forget the fun aspect of it, and everyone just starts freaking out and saying this and that, and they just lose the whole adventurous aspect of just letting loose, you know? Am I right?
Come out to Scare for Cure and let loose.
I think we're gonna have to come film our session through here, and we're gonna have to bring Kathy. I know you're gonna say
I'm gonna be
no.
screaming so loud.
So
You won't be the only one.
Chris Rachel's gonna show us some more makeup effects up next, and we'll be right back to wrap up here with Scare for a Cure.
Hi there, I'm Chris Rachel Lozum with Fanboy TV. We are out here at Scare for a Cure with Jenna, who is working on an orc mask. Tell us a little bit about what you're pre-painting there.
Our year this year is very, very heavily makeup and prosthetic based. We have a huge number of characters. We've got witches, we've got werewolves, we've got orcs, we've got trolls, we've got Rapunzel, Rumpelstiltskin. We've got a whole slew of
A
characters.
horror version of Rapunzel.
Yeah, it's all scary. It's all like our Rapunzel is not beautiful. She's a hag. She's a hag. So there's a lot of prosthetic work going into it. You know, lots of noses, lots of chins, lots of full face prosthetics. So since we have a relatively small makeup crew, in order to come back on time, I'm pre-painting everything. So I'm just going through because what I can do is I can pre-paint it a certain color.
Put up the mouse to the camera so we can see. Tell us what you're doing.
Basically, I'm going in and shading and highlighting things because the way this actual scene is lit, I want him to have real depth to his face. I want him to be menacing. So I just kind of decided I wanted him to kind of be of a brown gray. I mean, it was like, could he be green? Well, a lot of other characters are green, so I'm like, yeah, he's going to be more brown gray. But I'm basically just going in and highlighting and adding some depth. And then when I go to apply it, it takes me a lot less time because I can actually go in, apply it, and I've got most of the paint job done, and then I can go back and highlight and accentuate and blend it onto his skin. The actual process for putting on a prosthetic can be, for me anyway, a lot of people can do it a lot faster, but for me it takes on average about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
And like with werewolves, when we have a lot of hair work to incorporate in there, that's looking more at like 2.5 hour mark.
So about how many hours do you end up spending a day out here doing makeup before the show begins?
Well, if everything goes smoothly, I get out here at 3 o'clock. And if everybody shows up then we'll get it done until the show starts at 7:30. I've been here since 4:30 this morning, 4:15 this morning, because we had a commercial, a news segment that we did this morning. So I had to do werewolves this morning with my partner over here, Sherelle. And so we did 2 werewolves this morning for that, and then we had to remove their makeup so they could go home. And I've just been working on
They didn't just want to
effects.
sleep in the werewolf
they
makeup
didn't
for
want
some
to.
reason?
Yeah, no, not really. They looked amazing though. They looked really, really great. But for for tonight, we got to redo the same makeups we did earlier today. And we have to be able to do them quickly because we've got to start at a certain time and we got to get a lot of makeup done very quickly. So
Awesome.
yeah, so we got our crews established. We got 3 haunts going on. So we have 3 different crews set up. We have the Scare for a Cure, the Nightmare group, and then we have Boneyard, and then we've got Murder at Ghost Town.
Okay.
So there's completely 3 different styles of makeup going on. So I've got all my crew together and got them pretty, well divided as to who does what. So that's how we're
wait
going
to see how this actually looks when it's on a human being who's chasing us down something.
It's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be pretty cool. You're going to see a lot of makeup. And actually, when I was involved in Haunted Trails and now Scare for a Cure, I think it's the most heavily makeup prosthetic-wise that I've ever done, and between the 2 events. So, yeah, it's going to be a challenge to get it all done in time, but we will. We'll get it done.